Anyway, this year's Financial Times and Schroders Business Book of the Year has been awarded to Stephen Witt's The Thinking Machine, Jensen Huang, Nvidia, and the world's most coveted Microchip for its unprecedented access and insight into the making of one of the most consequential CEOs and companies of our time. I'm delighted to say Stephen Witt, the author of The Thinking Machine, Jensen Huang, Nvidia, and the world's most coveted Microchip, is with us now. Stephen, I made a big mistake, and I said this to you off camera. I like to go through the list of the FT books and read them all as well, but there was one of them I started. Not your one, and I've got to be honest, I've got to finish it now. It's not as entertaining as I think yours is as well. So
well, thank you.
That's probably why I didn't win. But I won't name which one it is, but I'm going to finish it, and I'm going to try and read yours at the same time. But I have started reading yours as well. And the good thing, let me just talk about the style of a book first of all before you talk about Jensen Huang.
Sure.
I think a business book is the most difficult thing to write because, quite frankly, most of them are boring.
Yeah.
And they're hard to translate into something that's engaging and entertaining. One thing I've noticed in the introduction and the early stages of your books, and actually it's interesting that Mustafa Suleiman said some nice things about it as well, because I think his book was just phenomenal as well, is it's engaging and it's very personal as well. So writing a business book has to have that, doesn't it?
Well, I got lucky.
Did you?
Yeah, but Jensen is just a fascinating person.
By the way, first of all, congratulations. Sorry, that's what the first thing I should say is well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a winner.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a winner. It feels great to win. But Jensen's a fascinating guy.
Yeah.
He's just so interesting. He's so compelling. He's so smart. He's so charismatic. He's so weird. He's so different.
Well, weird's great.
Yeah,
That's what I say to my children. Weird is good.
Yeah, he's just absolutely just absolutely no comparison to other business executives you meet. He's not like them. He's really a different kind of person. I've never met anyone like him in my life. He's this distinct individual. He's so brilliant, world-class computer scientist, a world-class business visionary, but also very kind of tightly wound, a little neurotic, a lot of negative emotion, and can be difficult to work for.
That sounds to me like a lot of CEOs. Without putting the plug in here, I've got to say, I look into the lives of CEOs, and I kind of that fits the bill.
He fits the bill, but most of them aren't also world-class computer scientists who are capable of designing a microchip from scratch, which Jensen can do. So he brings that technical brilliance with him. He's not just an executive. In fact, his degrees are all in electrical engineering. He's really an engineer who repurposed himself to be kind of a world-class CEO just by studying the inputs and outputs of what a world-class CEO looks like. But he still thinks like an engineer completely. He's got an inventor's mindset. He reminds me of Thomas Edison or one of these figures.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. Look, let's go back in history. This is a guy with an addiction to Denny's, I believe. Yeah, that's right. I can't say I mind a bit of Denny's myself when I'm stateside as well, but you and him bonded over. I mean, so he came to as an immigrant to the United States. And straight away fell in love with, dare I say it, some idiosyncrasies about the US economy, but you and him bonded over Denny's.
Yeah, we ate breakfast at Denny's
and
together.
He had a lot of food as well, I think.
He ordered 7 plates of food for himself.
He doesn't look that big.
He didn't eat all of it. I think he just was sampling his favorites from the past. He worked there as a dishwasher as his first job. And then he later worked there as waitstaff. And he was like, the thing I noticed about myself is when the dinner rush started, my heart rate would actually go down. I was most relaxed when there were, the restaurant was full of patrons and I couldn't have a second to think. That's when I felt at ease. That's true at Nvidia too today. When Nvidia became the most valuable company in the world early last year, he actually got really stressed out. He's not that comfortable with success. It's when things go wrong that he's actually in his best element.
This comes up a lot in conversations with CEOs. They don't like to be in their comfort zone.
They understand that complacency is a killer, right? And Jensen understands this better than anyone. He's seen all of these other microchip companies reach the top and then fail in the past. He's absolutely terrified of that fate. Andy Grove, the former CEO of Intel, called his biography "Only the Paranoid Survive," and that was very true for Jensen. I mean, he's completely
paranoid. That's the same as fund managers. They have a couple of fantastic years, and then they get very complacent. I'm a master of the universe. I can pick the winners and what have you. As you say, complacency, and it's a great metaphor for all of us watching. Never rest on your laurels.
Exactly, and especially in this industry where you really have to completely reinvent your product line and even retool the manufacturing side of your product line every 3 years ago. So this is an industry, microchip industry, semiconductor industry of constant reinvention. And winning in one cycle is no guarantee that you will win the next, and actually might be an impediment to doing so.
Tell me, because we all know Jensen Huang now and his ubiquitous leather jackets and an extraordinary voice to listen to, and our very own Arjun's spoken to him on several occasions as well. But it took a long while for him to become an overnight success. I mean, he is... One thing that not many of our viewers probably remember, or probably they can work it out, he's like the longest-serving S&P 500 CEO.
He's the longest-serving S&P 500 CEO of any tech company. 30-plus years? Yeah, 30-plus years. Founded the company at Denny's, in a Denny's restaurant, with his two co-founders, and then has been the CEO since the first day all the way through. And there were 20 years there where Nvidia was not a popular stock. In fact, they were viewed as a dog. There was about 13 or 14 years of total stagnancy in their stock price. What was happening was Jensen was taking the profits from the gaming business and plowing them into the scientific computing initiative that for a long time was not profitable, that was not making money, and his investors and his customers were screaming at him. But he felt if he could just expand the capacity of what the microchip could do, eventually some kind of ideal customer would come along and there'd be some kind of paradigm shift in science that would make what he was doing valuable. That turned out to be AI.
But during that 20-year period as well, I mean, he was always going to be a success. GPUs were always going to be a success. You know, the getting computers to think like human beings and the parallel functions, it was always going to happen. But it wasn't. It did not seem obvious. And bearing in mind, we're talking, the last 20 years or 30 years, the scientific leaps have been unbelievable with personal computers, etc. But no one necessarily in the first 20 years thought that he had the magic formula.
As Jensen pointed out, the road to success in parallel computing was littered with corpses. It was littered with other...
Why wasn't it littered with his corpse?
Because he found the one use that had an infinite demand, which was gaming. Yeah. No matter how well they rendered the graphics, their customers would come back and ask for more power, more microchips, and that was really unique just to that segment. Other applications got saturated very quickly with computing power and just didn't have that infinite demand. And Jensen was always looking for the next thing. What's the next thing that's going to have infinite demand that will never be saturated? No matter how much computing power I throw at it, it's going to come back and ask for more. And that turned out to be intelligence. There's an infinite demand for intelligence, and they caught that wave, and it's turned them into the most valuable company in the world.
There is no company in the world that I can think of that has remained at the top forever. Now, there's a lot of companies that have remained at the top for a long time, whether it's one of the Rockefeller companies or a Carnegie company or whoever it may well be in history. Nokia is a great case in point as well. They dominated the early stages of handsets as well. Why do you think that Nvidia and Jensen Huang can buck that trend for long, or what are your thoughts about how long they remain at the top?
There's risks already. Gemini, Google's world-class AI, was not trained on Nvidia equipment. It was trained on Google's in-house tensor processing units, their own microchips that they had developed. That's a huge threat to Nvidia. China, Jensen's working very hard to make his microchips available in China, but the Chinese authorities are kind of discouraging domestic AI manufacturers from using his equipment. They want to build their own domestic computing stack. They want Huawei to build it. So there's that competition. Amazon has a whole platform, and then there's his classic competitors like AMD and Broadcom. Jensen's paranoia is grounded in reality, right? Just because you're paranoid does not mean they are not out to get you. And in the case of Nvidia, when you see 70%, 80% gross margins on a microchip, that's going to attract competition. It's blood in the water.
Also attracts a US government that wants a slice of the pie for China.
That's right.
So, I mean, given everything, and you're a long-term investigative journalist as well. You've done some phenomenal work. I mean, you've done some great work on streaming as well, on music as well, which I'll come to in a few moments' time. But do you then see the seeds of Nvidia? I mean, is Nvidia at its peak now?
The question, and where Jensen, so I asked Jensen, what's the next CUDA? What's the next platform you build that was like AI was 10 years ago? And for him right now, it's robotics. He's seeing a coming wave of humanoid home robots that are going to be domestic servants, clean our floors and wash dishes. He's building Omniverse, which is a digital gymnasium to train the brains of these robots, and then he's going to deploy edge computing microchips in the robots themselves, and those will constantly be updated with new robotic consciousness from the cloud.
Why shouldn't I be terrified about this?
It's terrifying.
Steve, are you terrified by this?
I brought this up to him. I'm like, some of this stuff is terrifying, and he looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, this is like being...
Has he not seen the Schwarzenegger movie?
He's like, this is being terrified of agriculture or being terrified of the Industrial Revolution.
This is... That's my question.
I agree with you, But as I continued to bring this up, he more and more aggressively and forcefully shut me down over the course of the book.
Because you're not a Luddite. I don't consider myself a Luddite. I consider myself, I don't know much about technology, but I love it, and I love the possibilities. But this technology seems different from previous technologies.
I completely agree, and I think actually, in fact, that these parallels are a little convenient, right? We've never seen what it looks like when we evolve, essentially the digital equivalent of brain tissue at 100,000 times capacity a year, which is what we're doing now. No one really knows where that's going to lead, what's going to happen. In fact, most of the AI companies, like Anthropic or OpenAI, were very concerned about this. This is actually kind of part of their mission statement, was the worry that what might happen as machine consciousness and machine intelligence runs away. Jensen is not worried. He thinks these are science fiction scenarios that are ridiculous. To him, his microchips are just doing a lot of dot products. They're just doing a lot of math, and there's no risk. So
no risk to something that's X times more intelligent than a human being that can do everything.
My point of view is, if you have something that's smarter than you, you should be concerned because...
Robot, turn yourself off. No, I'm not going to. Then we're done, aren't we? When the robot says nah.
Jensen views this as a speculative science fiction scenario, doesn't think it's real.
Why? How can that be speculative? It's amazing. I mean, I don't know why I'm arguing with you. This is amazing. but how can it be speculative? You build a machine that knows it's a machine that is X thousand times more smart than a human being, than Jensen Huang, and you tell it to turn itself off, and it says, nah. I
have been writing about this because the pioneers like Yoshua Bengio and Jeffrey Hinton are very worried about this. And they're worried specifically that the machine might develop a survival instinct, even inadvertently. Right now, it doesn't have one. It doesn't have one in the way that we do as biological creatures. But maybe even inadvertently, someone could introduce into the AI a desire not to be turned off, or just give it a prompt not to be turned off. And there's no telling how it might respond.
Is that your next book? What's the next? Are you already writing the next one?
I think the next book is related to this, but also robots, too. I think I'm going to kind of tie it all together.
Yeah, you've done an amazing job. You've done something which is unthinkable. Made a business book really exciting. And I genuinely, Stephen, because look, I do business shows every day. I know that you have to entertain to get people to watch. It's tough going.
I'm telling you, I got lucky. This story is genuinely incredible.
So your next book's not going to be as fun?
I hope it will be. It might just be about him again, honestly. I might just put the same main character in there as a sequel, part 2.
Yeah, I'll go for Musk again, but that's already been done, isn't it?
But it's just he's a fascinating guy. It's a fascinating company. I wish I could spend the rest of my life writing about them.
Well, I'm sure you can. Your other book was about how music became free, wasn't it? In 2015, was that?
2015, yeah.
It took you 10 years to write books. What's the next one? 2025?
2025. Hopefully I get it out a little faster this time.
Have you checked out your Spotify of the year yet?
Yeah, my Spotify Wrapped. A lot of...
How old were you?
I was, this year?
Yeah.
46, yeah.
No, in terms of what Spotify said you were.
Oh, I didn't see that yet.
I was 21.
21, yeah. I'm a little older than that. I'm kind of in my dad rock phase, yeah.
My 16-year-old daughter, she was 58.
My daughter, it's all K-pop Demon Hunters, so I think there's a lot of that on my Spotify, so it might pull me down a little bit.
No, she's moved on to the Stones and Labi Siffre. I mean, what more do I want? Stephen, it's been a real honour and a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to finishing the book.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations as well.
Thank you.
Really good work.